So I don't think I ever would have said, you know who should direct this coming-of-age horror comedy? McG, the guy that did Terminator Salvation. But I had a lot of fun with this movie. It actually really worked for me. So let's talk about it. So the Babysitter tells the story of Cole. He's a fairly normal 12-year-old in that he's a total weirdo. He gets bullied at school and he's got a crush on the girl across the street. And even though he's a little bit too old to have a babysitter, he does still have a babysitter. But lucky for him, it's the hottest and the coolest babysitter that has ever existed. So one night after he supposedly's gone to bed, he walks downstairs to try and see what the babysitter does once he's asleep, thinking that maybe her boyfriend comes over and they do some funny business. Well, something funny's going on, and he finds himself on the run for his life after witnessing some crazy, crazy stuff. Now, I don't want to say too much about the movie. Let's just say that it's a pretty high body count. A lot of people die, and there's a lot of gore, violence, jokes, and fun to be had in this movie. But really what this movie is, it's a horror movie plot premise with all the gore of a horror movie, directed by the guy that directed Charlie's Angels. That's actually what this movie very much feels like, and while you would never think to yourself this is the right mashup, the end result is quite a bit of fun. So let's talk about the good. Right off the bat, I'd like to talk about the cast because it's just a lot of fun, and this movie works because the cast kind of has chemistry and just bring a liveliness to everything. And while there's a few kind of faces in here familiar, Leslie Bibb's in it, Robbie Amell, Stephen Amell's cousin's in it, for the most part, they're people that I haven't really seen in a lot of stuff before, especially Cole, our lead kid on the run for his life, and our babysitter. I haven't seen them in anything before. I just did a little bit of research, and apparently Cole was one of the people that was in the running to be Spider-Man, that Tom Holland went to the role, but he was one of the top 6 people in the running for that. And seeing this movie, I go, I can kind of see this. This kid kind of carried this pretty well and has a lot of ability and just on a lot of different levels of kind of fun, charm, charisma for someone that's still a teenager. And then the girl that plays the babysitter in it is apparently Hugo Weaving's niece. And so I'd never seen her in anything before, looked at her resume, looked at her filmography, and she's apparently been in a bunch of stuff, just not stuff that I've happened to have seen as of yet. And I mean, very pretty girl, but just kind of has a charm, kind of fun to her that comes off like the coolest person and makes kind of the right dynamic for all this. But all around, everyone in it just kind of brings the right levels. Like the bully kid in it feels like a bully kid in a McG movie. It kind of all feels right. Next, you got to move to McG, and a lot of what makes this movie work is McG's frantic energy drink infused directing style. From beginning to end, this is a McG stylized film with all sorts of his little quirks and types of stuff that he does, and freeze frames, words on the screen, texting kind of appearing out, all sorts of stuff that's very McG. It's very visual in the way it tells it. The use of music is very kind of in your face, where the music drives kind of the tone of it and the soundtrack of it. All stuff that's so true to his high energy type storytelling. This is the sort of movie where you kind of go, you can see where McG could have had a much better career if he didn't go off and make Terminator movies and We Are Marshall and all sorts of things that don't match kind of what's good for him, which for him, it's take a simple premise and just infuse energy and fun into it. He can do that. That's what he's very good at doing. And you see that in this movie and a few of his other movies, but he's not like this complex storytellers. This is the type of movie that probably he should be working on. Yeah, his kind of in-your-face, high energy, lack of subtlety worked very well with this quirky, odd story about a group of teenagers trying to kill a tween. I mean, it just worked out pretty nicely, kind of meshed together pretty well. And the final positive on this one, the movie actually does a pretty good job of balancing the tone and feeling consistent inside of itself, inside of this wacky McG world, even though the first 20-25 minutes is a kid, that's weird, awkward, doesn't understand his parents, loves a couple of girls, and is getting bullied. And the second half is that kid on the run for his life in a very gory movie. The tone actually bridges pretty nicely. The shift in the plot of it is pretty swift, but this odd, weird world. It works pretty well, and it has the same sense of humor, energy, liveliness through it, whether it's coming of age story or insane violent gore fest. It works pretty consistently. From there, let's move on to the bad. I don't have any big issues with this movie, but this is a movie that's definitely not going to be for everyone. It's going to be very off-putting to a lot of people, and it's not quite as funny as it's trying to be. It's as fun as it's trying to be, but it's not necessarily as funny. So some of the jokes fall a little bit flat, or kind of smirked at things, kind of laughed at it. It was like, oh, I like what you're going for. Oh, all these references to stuff. That's kind of cool. But it didn't necessarily make me laugh. It is a movie that has a lot of references to stuff, and it's, quoting movies, and they're watching Billy Jack in the backyard, and then a certain song plays that is overplayed, and like, is this a joke, or are they intentionally playing the overplayed song because they know that's part of the humor of it, or they just doing something cliche in this moment? There's a lot of kind of stuff like that in the movie that won't necessarily work for people. And as well as just in general, the nature of this movie with McG's hyper stylized way of editing things together. Some people will just find that off-putting. Some people won't like kind of either the coming of age side to it, the simplicity of it, and just how stylized it is, and that, the cute girl next door comes off like that stereotypical girl. The bully comes off like the stereotypical bully. Some people might not appreciate that, though it fits into I would say it fits into the world that they're created here. But just in general, there's a juvenile sense of humor and fun in this that some people just won't connect with. I mean, there's a whole plot line about a girl getting shot in the boob, and some people, that's not going to work for them. And that type of juvenileness that matches the age of this kid and what would matches the world that he would exist in, and what would play into that, some people just won't like it. I had fun with it. It worked for me. So for me, I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. It's just kind of a fun, quirky, if you like violent horror comedies, offbeat, a little bit different from the usual. This one is just injected with fun and gives me hope that maybe McG will find a career doing things maybe more along these lines as opposed to serious stuff and some of the odd things that he's done over the years. And if I'm being honest, this is a movie that I think a lot of people are going to really like. The right kind of people are really going to like this sort of, it feels throwback to the 70s and 80s, just high concept, just kind of go for it, fun, gory type of movies that, I have fun watching late at night, and I had fun watching this one. But that's just my take on it. How about you? Tell me what you thought about it down below in the comment section. Even in interacting with people on the internet, I've only seen, man, it was a lot of fun, and it sucked. I hated McG's the worst. I haven't seen a lot of people that were just kind of like, yeah, it was okay. Most people seem to fall into those two categories. I had a lot of fun with it. How about you? And if you're new to my channel, please consider clicking that subscribe button. I do movie reviews, TV reviews, ranking videos. I actually got coming out tomorrow my ranking of all of the Chucky movies. Pretty excited about that one. But the key thing is, I don't want to just talk about movies. I want to talk about movies with you. So join me in the comment section. Let's have a lively discussion, and thank you so much for watching.